Hey, good day, everybody. This is Paul Romero with the Sell a House Wholesale Real Estate Investing, number 181 on this Freedom Friday, October, what is today? 23rd? Is that right? Yeah, it sure is. October 23rd, 2015. Hawaiian Shirt Day, as always, on a Freedom Friday. And we are here today to discuss wholesale real estate investing strategies, concepts, theories, um, foundational aspects of what it takes to be successful. You name it, Freedom Friday, we talk about it, whatever the heck we think is appropriate for the day. And my thought for today was support systems. What do you think, John? How are you doing this day?
I'm doing excellent. I'm actually walking through the house now to go sit out on this beautiful morning. And you know what? Hold on a second.
All right, we'll hold on a second while you get comfortable.
No, that's not even that. I have a dog, and the dog ran by my legs and then ran back out to the patio, and I'm not even going to try to do a hangout with that whack job beast out on the patio with me. Never going to happen. So, all right, I'm sitting down prepared, and I like the topic you're bringing up for today for support systems, and very lucky to have a great support system with the Property Noodler team. Number one is Paul being the support system to get these hangouts up and running every day, because this morning I had lost all track of time. And then I get my little buzz in that to come join this hangout. So support great topic for a Freedom Friday, because that's what allows us to be free.
Yeah, I mean, and support systems go two ways, don't they? The people at, I'm not going to really say the people at the top, but the people that are kind of putting it all together for the people that are wanting to learn and grow and experience successful. We have to create support systems for them, and they really are our support system for us. So it's a two-way street.
Yes, absolutely. It's you scratch my back, I scratch yours sort of scenario. So what specifically about support systems did you want to get into here today, Paul?
I don't really have anything specific. I just thought it was a great topic because, like I said, it does go both ways. I was just looking at the fact this morning that, some of the support systems that we have for our team need to, what we have in place right now, some of the things we have in place right now, they need a little bit of tweaking so that they can be better used, I think, and easier to comprehend and understand and use. So a couple of things we have need a little bit of tweaking. And then, of course, obviously that got my mind into thinking, okay, how much more do we need to do? And of course, that's still a lot because our system is fairly new and we're still growing this whole program here. So yeah, we need to be creating a lot more support systems for our team. And then, I was looking back, and just doing that, obviously, as we talked about, the team being our support system for you and I, so that it can, what the team does for us, generates a little more free time, so to speak. Not necessarily, it's not really free time. It's just time away from some of the more tedious tasks that have to be done, that have to take place, that are all part of being successful and acquiring deals and getting deals and closing deals and making money. They're all part of the process, which our team wants to learn about. And so they're out there taking certain pieces off of our plate so that we actually can have more time to work on enhancing the support system that we give them so that they can be more successful, so that we can be more successful.
Absolutely. When you're working in a wholesale real estate business, Paul and I, one of the things we caught on to early on is that we were going to need to hire somebody to help us, to help with research and gathering leads and doing the mailers and some light administrative work, some filing, things like that. You know, I will pat us both on the back to say it's something that we realized very early on. Wouldn't you say, Paul? I mean, the history of how Paul and I came together is I was just getting into this whole concept of wholesale real estate because I, like many other people, had gone to a seminar. It was a Rich Dad, Poor Dad seminar. It cost me $200. It was over the course of 3 days. And you know what? I had never been into self-development per se. I've always been about mind. And when I was in college, I took psychology and English and writing so I could better myself. And I've always been into learning and growing as a person, but I never was really specifically reading like Think and Grow Rich or How to Win Friends and Influence People and really getting into the self-development, personal growth type philosophy, though I've always kind of had that philosophy behind me. So Paul and I met in January or February of 2012. I know that's when I got into wholesale real estate. So I had found Paul because I'd been seeing these house hunter buys for cash ads all over Craigslist and his signs all over town. And I got to give Paul kudos because when I first did speak with him, I'm like, man, this guy really has a lot going on. Little did I know he had a lot of nothing going on.
So true, so true.
But you know what? He really did present himself well. And maybe I presented myself as pretty good as myself, but Paul and I had gotten together. Something about the relationship clicked. We had a deal that I had found that we were working on, which really wasn't a deal. I had encountered my first of many real estate scam artists. What I'm getting at here is that Paul and I quickly realized that, you know, he was after the same goals with real estate. I was after the same goals with real estate. We both had done some education. After I had done that seminar, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, I took some of their further courses. And for me, it worked out great. It was worth every penny and every moment spent. It was worth taking that education because I had never had that sort of mindset or education before. So, you know, if you were to ask me if I thought those online or internet or financial guru stuff is garbage, I'd say it's only garbage if you go spend your money and take everything you learn and throw it in the trash, then yeah, it's garbage. But if you take it and you use it, it's great stuff, a great support system, actually, if you will, because I hired a coach and all these other things. Then Paul, but Paul and I both have a similar background. What I'm getting at is that we quickly had the ability to realize that we ourselves couldn't do all this on our own, because after we closed our first two deals, one of the first things we did, maybe a little prematurely, but it's actually what we had to do at the time if we were going to continue moving forward in any sort of direction, is we hired an employee. We hired someone to continue to go down and do research for us, and we trained her and had her come into the office and do letters and all sorts of stuff. And it was a great learning experience, which brought us to where we're at today. So, you know, support systems, having a team, a good secretary, good receptionist, employees, operations, management, overhead, sales, acquisitions, you know, the whole 9 yards. You want a successful business, you want any free time in your life whatsoever, and to make make more than a living, but, you know, build wealth, you need a team to do that. And you need a team that supports each other, and it has to be mutual, and you have to support the people that are supporting you. And I really feel that's what Paul's getting at the heart of here today is, you know, part of our motivation for putting together a team and building these materials and stuff to train you guys and get you guys set up for success is because we need to provide you that support, because the support you're providing us is bringing in the deals, following through with the leads that we gather for you and following through with the materials we're teaching so you can bring deals to fruition and make some money. But it's reciprocal, because in order for you to do that, you need to know what to say and what to do and how to approach and all that other stuff. And then that's where Paul and I can support you guys. And that's where you guys need, you know, the lead gathering and the lead generation and the marketing that we provide.
Yeah, I just want to add one thing to what you were talking about, how, you know, early on in our development that we, you know, did see the power of, you know, having someone on the team to help us out. And even though, like you said, it wasn't premature. It was a really a necessity for us. What was bad about it was the way we went about it. We probably picked the most expensive possible way of doing it. And the system that we had in place was, in fact, rather expensive to operate. Although, you know what? Hey, it was our first system, and it's what we had, it's what we knew, it's what we were doing. And, you know, it developed from there, because once that system sort of maxed out, you know, it could only go so far with what we had, with the combination of the system, the expense that we were putting into it. It forced the person that we had brought in to help us to leave us, because we just couldn't, you know, get over the hump to bring her in on a full-time level, and she needed a full-time job. So she ended up leaving us to go to a full-time job, which then forced us to go back and, you know, take back control of that system, which is then where we found, okay, now we have, you know, problems here. We have huge expense here. We started seeing things within the system that needed to be corrected and fixed. And so we did that. You know, we went to the next step there, and we sort of revamped our system. And then once we revamped our system, then we brought in someone else to run this new, better, you know, more efficient system for us. And almost, you know, sort of the same thing happened again. We sort of maxed out that system again with what we had created there. And again, I think our person left us again because we just couldn't get over that hump of being able to supply them with everything that they needed at the time. And once again, when she was gone, forced John and I to go back into the system, look at it again, find a whole lot more that we could improve upon, make things better, more efficient, which we did, and then move on to our, you know, our next person, who now, you know, now we have a system in place, you know, and during the course, you know, over the course past that, you know, then we brought in someone else to help us with, like I said, the lead generation, our lead gathering, et cetera, and so on like that, revamping, creating new systems, and learning and growing and working on all that stuff. And it's a continual cycle, you know, to create something, run it for a little bit, and then you kind of have to go back to square one and kind of take a look at it, you know, go back and get that, you know, 50,000 foot overview of it, see what the heck's going on in here, figure out where the good things are, where the bad things are, and then hone in on the stuff that needs help and go in there and fix it up so that you can, you know, rebuild and revitalize that support system for the team. And that's, like I said, that's where this kind of started this morning, was the fact that I was just looking at some of the things that we have, because I was looking at going forward. Actually, I was looking at, okay, hey, we got to get out there and create a couple of more little support systems for our team. And I said, let me real quickly see what's going on with what we have. And I went, wow, okay, we got to go back to square one, take what we have, fix it up a little bit, then we can move forward some more.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, it's great when you start having all the key components in place in your system and you can really see it start to operate. But as Paul pointed out there, well, I kind of took this out of what Paul said. I don't know if he specifically said this, but you know what? You can't get hung up on perfection, okay? If you're waiting for your system to be perfect before implementing it, I can guarantee you will never, ever implement the system. You've got to start with the idea. And in my opinion, you formulate a plan and you take action today on that plan and start implementing your systems right away. And, but as Paul was saying that, as you're developing the system, part of development is research. How are you going to research something? You can't research marketing in a lab. You know what the laboratory is for marketing and sales? The entire spectrum of human existence. It's people. So you know what? You never heard of test marketing? That's what it is you got to go out there and you got to just do. You can't get hung up on things being perfect before implementation. Now, there's certain things that you wait for, like Paul and I are going to be launching something here in about 6 months, and I'm not going to tell you what it is. You know why? Because it's in preparation. It's got to be ready to launch. Now, when we launch, will it be perfect? From a legal standpoint, yeah, no one's going to be able to steal copywritten materials, but is the actual, all the content, the bugs going to be worked out of the website? Are all those things going to be perfect? No, that's going to be something that's going to be, added to, taken away from, cleaned up, fixed up, and tweaked as we go. But, so there are those systems that you got to hold back, but it's more of a legal point of view. Quite frankly, in a way, we're kind of already pre-launching what we're going to be doing. If you think about it, Paul, it doesn't have all the fancy names and attachments to it yet, which is on hold. But, the point I'm trying to make here, on top of what Paul's saying about having a support system and, having your systems in place and getting them implemented, but, be open to tweaking and reviewing them and making some changes, making them better, is don't get hung up on that stuff to a point where you never get started. One of my favorite quotes is by a war general, go figure, George S. Patton. And it says, basically, a good plan vigorously executed right now is better than a perfect plan executed next week. It's all about taking action. And so, implementation, that's kind of where I kind of took from what you were saying there, Paul.
From the beginning standpoint, yeah, that's kind of where I was making the point, was the fact of, yeah, you just got to get going, and then you just got to do for a little bit, and you're going to find mistakes. You're going to run into problems. You're probably going to have even a very highly disappointing setback that cost you a ton of money. Maybe not directly out of your pocket, but maybe money that just didn't come into your pocket because of something that got screwed up, that, because you didn't know something. But as long as you have the wherewithal to take that lesson right there, take that failure, pull out what the problem was, what caused that, and turn around and fix that so that it doesn't happen again, well, the next time that situation comes around, you don't have that failure and you make that money, or you don't lose that money, or whatever the case is. And that's how you just keep moving and going forward. I'll tell you, there was plenty of very, very expensive lessons that John and I struggled through along the way. And it wasn't, like I said, it wasn't necessarily lessons that, really cost us money out of our pocket. We've really never lost any money in this business. I think one deal we lost $100 or something on, but the fact that there was a potential for a large profit that, just sort of all of a sudden blew up and disintegrated, and we didn't make that money because of, things we didn't know or couldn't do or whatever. But, each and every one of those is now, now coming into being a deal and closing and being a profit center because of the fact that, we took those opportunities to learn and grow and fix our systems and, create better support systems and do all of those things. And so, yeah, that's definitely part of where I was talking about. Another aspect of the whole thing is just the whole idea of that piece right there, those lessons, those expensive lessons. If you have a support system around you of knowledge and education, you can avoid those pitfalls of having to, live through those expensive lessons, because as things come up that you don't know about, if you've got a support system of knowledge and experience around you to draw from, and or to, you know, step in and take over, help out, whatever the case might be, then, you know, you don't have to suffer through a lot of those heartaches that John and I had to suffer through as we were learning and growing and building, you know, a program and a system here. So that's one of the big things about a support system at the advanced level, is once you have one, or you know, when you're getting started, if you have the ability to be involved with one, to attach yourself, to associate, to sort of plug into one where you have that already in place for you, then it's a powerful feeling. It gives you a lot more confidence to go out there and do what you need to do. Because when you go out there at first, all on your own, without any support systems, you're nervous and scared and worried about every little detail that you don't know all about. And that shows in your, you know, delivery to other people. You know, people say that, you know, dogs can smell fear, or dogs can sense, you know, people that they don't like or whatever like that. You know, people do that too. If you don't have an air of confidence and excitement and enthusiasm about yourself and what you're doing in your product, people read that very quickly. And, you know, that could be the difference between you potentially getting a deal or the next guy that comes in behind you that, you know, has that air of confidence and strength behind him, that, you know, he just is able to exude the information to these people in a manner that they adhere to, you know, whereas, you know, somebody, you know, you're a little wishy-washy, whatever, not quite sure, you're all worried about these things, you know, people can't build that confidence within you. It's not going to generate the trust that they need to have in you to be able to accomplish what you're trying to do. Where, like I say, if you have that support system and you have just the feeling of knowing, if I don't know something, boom, all I got to do is hand it off and it's going to be taken care of by someone knowledgeable. That in and of itself is powerful feeling.
Absolutely. You know, just having the team is a powerful feeling. Having people behind you that have the answers for you, or the money for you, and the ability to take down these deals is a powerful feeling. I know one of the things that when Paul and I got started, one of the expensive lessons that we learned is that every time we got a deal, we would sell it. We were selling them for way less than we could have been selling those properties for on quite a few of them. Quite frankly, you know, we didn't really, you know, we were fresh and new, so we didn't maybe fully understand the value of the market. But however, I don't really necessarily think it's that, because at the end of the day, were we not the ones that comped that property? And we've always been good at hitting the values right on the head. What we were kind of lacking at that time was the support system of private money lenders, cash investors, and buyers to take down these properties. So, I mean, we would find a property and we wouldn't have a buyer right out the gate. We would actually have to Craigslist that and market and, you know, maybe share the deal with a wholesaler to find a buyer. And I think it was, you know, that, you know, caused us to probably, you know, one of the expensive lessons I'd say is that I know that we realized that we've probably left in our first year, off of our first 3 deals alone, somewhere around $35,000, $40,000 was left on the table. You know, one deal we sold for 32, and after we sold it to the investor and tried to sell it for them, they did no work to the place, yet they had an offer for $13,000 higher day one because of a mistake that Paul and I made in our marketing. Another one is we had to put up a large escrow deposit. So we took the first offer that came our way, didn't market this thing out at all, had another offer after we accepted the first one for $9,000 higher. However, in hindsight, looking at what that property sold for and what we sold for, you know, it was like a $450,000 property that we sold for around $292. But I think in this market, we could have got $310 for the. In the market then, we probably could have got $310 for that place had we taken an extra week to market it after I looked at the resale numbers. So
yeah, 310 to 3.25.
Yeah, exactly. And then our first deal that we ever got and sold, actually, for what the guy did with it, I pretty much think we nailed our profit rate on the head with about 16,000 and some change on that one. So it's just, but we didn't have a support system that gave us the flexibility or just the confidence that we can get these properties sold. So we rushed into selling them to the first person who came along, and the numbers were positive.
Well, you know what? And on that second deal right there, like you said, the first deal we pretty much nailed, which was awesome. $16,000 profit on it, which was coming in on the same day that we had to open the escrow on the second deal, which was requiring a $13,500 deposit. So out of fear of loss is really because from lack of a support system, we had a huge fear of loss. It's like, we just made $16,000 and we got to put up 13,500 of it. What if we can't sell this property? We're going to lose $13,500 and end up out of two deals with only 2,500 bucks, you know, so, or whatever, 3,500, 3,000, whatever it was. And so this huge, I mean, fear of loss of potential, what we had just gained out of this deal, yeah, rushed us right into a rash decision of not doing a proper marketing. Instead of doing the marketing that we did on the first one, we picked up the phone and called somebody and said, hey, we got this property at this price, what do you think? And boom, it was sold at that price, which was, like we talked about, obviously too low. You know, so
by about 20 grand now that I look at it.
20 to 35 grand. That one deal alone could have doubled our annual profit for that year. So, but like I said, it's all, like I said, without a support system, we had nowhere to turn, no one to rely on but each other and our own thoughts and our own processes, and of course, both coming from pretty much the same place, kind of had the same thoughts and the same processes. And so, made, like I said, a rash decision that ultimately was a very expensive lesson. But with that, obviously, we, learned and grew from that, and started, making sure that we went from that point in time on into making sure that we marketed all our properties, correctly, the right way. Well, not 100% correctly, because the next deal we missed out on 10 grand or 15 grand.
We did still make 15 grand on that property.
Oh yeah, no, we still did good. It's just, like I said, we still made money. We didn't lose. We made good money. It was just, like I said, one of those expensive lessons that didn't put all the money in our pocket. Because, like I said, it was just lack of knowledge and lack of a support system to help us with, if there was somebody that we, worked with, had a little bit more experience at that point in time, that maybe we could have, asked a question, and maybe had someone else come out and look at that property with us and say, what do you think about this thing? Where do you think the values are on it? Because there was the values that we saw, the way that we comped it, we were right there, we were right on at the time, but there was, other factors that we weren't educated enough to take into consideration that boosted the value a lot higher than where we had, by your standard sort of, figure working out of a comp, didn't count into play, what really increased that the value of that property that we didn't see and we missed, that cost us that money. So yeah, fun stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I see, Paul, we're, you know what? We've got 1 minute left. Unless you have any final comments you'd like to say, I've kind of exhausted my commentary for today. So I was going to close this out unless you want to throw something else in there.
Well, I'll just throw out there that, the Property Noodler system is a, pre-built support system that is in place. Obviously, from what I talked about this morning, is in progress and growing and getting better. Do we have it all? Is it perfected? No, it's not. Will it ever be? Probably not, because things change, especially in the world of real estate. So will anything ever be perfected? Probably not. But you know what? It'll be perfected to a point where it's only in need of, market changing updates here and there to stay abreast and current with the times. So we're not quite at that level yet, but we're almost there. The bottom line is that this is a support system for a team to have success from top to bottom. Everybody involved has the ability to exceed and excel and be successful to whatever level they desire.
Excellent. Like I said, I just want to follow up with that and say, you know what, go ahead. If you've caught us on these Hangouts and something we said here today resonates with you, you're interested in, if you're looking for a support system and to work with some guys in the Phoenix market, or even if you're doing this thing nationally, we have ways that we can get you set up in any city that you're in. With that being said, shoot us an email. We're looking to connect with newbies, old school investors, money guys, whatever. If you're in the world of real estate and you want deals or you have deals, share them with us. We're cash buyers as well. We're not just wholesale.
Yeah, because
real estate equals relationships. And that's basically, the point of these Hangouts here is Paul and I kind of throwing our faces out there into the void and trying to get some response back from you guys. So go ahead, send us an email at PropertyNoodlers, and we'll end with the Napoleon Hill prayer as we do each time. That goes, "O universe, I ask not for more riches, but for more wisdom with which to make better use of the riches given to me at birth, through the power to control and direct my own mind to whatever end I may desire." So with that, have a great, strong session climax, and we'll see you back here on New Up Day.
Bye, everybody.